Joe Laird is a writer with 2 books to his name and several articles published in Chicken Soup for the Soul. His talk today is capital G or small g? Capital G or small g? Joe Laird.
We're going to have some fun because you're going to learn some things about me that you probably don't want to know. And I'm not really sure I want to share them because this is literally my first run down this road of sharing this. How many of y'all, I don't care really, but believe in a higher power? Okay, all hands go up. I believe in God. I really do. I don't know a lot about the Holy Spirit, Jesus Christ, God, that triune relationship. I'm not a master of that, but I get it. I understand, other people have a different concept of what they believe in God. They call it higher power, they call it whatever they want to call it, Muhammad, Buddha. I get that. Ganesh, whatever you want to call it. I get that. The talk I want to talk about is, what is it that you believe? And why do you believe it? There's a story I love. A captain of a ship is heading east, just chugging along, having a good time. And the first mate says, hey, there's a light ahead. We're on a parallel course. The captain, being the captain, gets on the radio and says, you need to correct your course 10 degrees to the south. A couple minutes later, report back on the other side that says, I hear you. No, you correct your course 10 degrees to the north. Now an argument starts to happen. The captain of the ship says, I am the captain. You need to correct your course. The radio response comes back. I'm the first mate. You need to correct your course. More argument. The last one comes. The captain says, I am the captain of this battleship. You understand? You need to correct your course. The first mate comes back and says, I want you to understand, I'm a lighthouse. That's a good chuckle. We need to know where we're going. We need to know if that light we're looking at truly is worth looking at. I've been without a rudder. If you're a sailboat on the ocean and you don't have your rudder, you're literally at the mercy of the wind, because there's nothing holding you to that water except the sail, and the sail is pushing you wherever that wind wants to go, because there's nothing holding you. The rudder is crucial. Pay attention to your rudder. Pay attention to where you're going. And I've done, literally, I'm just zonking along. You're talking about woohoo, man, I'm woohoo with the best of them. That was a great talk you gave, and I really encourage you to start recording yourself and start to hear what it is you're saying. Because once I started recording myself, I started to get understanding of what it was that I wanted to say. And what is it that I want to say in this is, are you really following a capital G, God? Or are you paying attention to small g, God? Some of the things to pay attention to, when I started paying attention to the capital G, God, in my life, I didn't want to pray. Because I thought prayer literally was a GPS lock-on to where I was. And I didn't want God to know where I was. I had a lot of misconceptions, a lot of them. I thought God was keeping score. Oh, that's Joe. Oh, that's Joe. You know, and there was a lot of hashtags up there on that scorecard. So if I was going to pray to capital G, it meant he knew where I was. It meant he knew what I was doing. And common sense told me I was screwed. Now, the problem I had to wake up to, I was using my finite brain to try to put an infinite God into that. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. When my son had cancer, I thought it was payback. Now, how stupid is that? My son, I thought was going to die. It was payback for all those things I've done. I've broken some commandments that you should not break.
No, we don't.
I thought I was getting paid back. How stupid is that? I'm using my totally narcissistic thinking and thinking that's the way God thinks. My finite brain trying to comprehend the infinite. Not too smart. So I got into a better relationship. I started to get something. And what shocked me was he heard me. I didn't get the answer. I didn't, like when I call on my cell phone, I call Tom, I call Mecklin, I call Dave, I call Karen. I've talked to Christy on the cell phone. That's not what I'm talking about. But literally, when my son literally died a couple times on the operating table, we're coming back from his surgery at University of Utah. And it's 3 o'clock in the morning. We're over by Big Sky coming back. It's a snowy night, and my son woke up in the car, and he's like, Dad, I gotta go to the bathroom. He's in a body cast from his chest down to the ankle, one leg, halfway down the other leg on his thigh. And he's 7 years old. I'm helping him out of the car. We're going to the bathroom. And he said, I got to hold Jesus' hand during surgery. When a 7-year-old boy looks at you and tells you that, do you want to tell him he's stupid? Tell him he's nuts? And I had to really take a look at, he comprehended something I didn't have an understanding for. So who's right? Who's wrong? At 7 years old, he knew what capital G was. Made me get my Nikes on and really start to look at what is it in my relationship with God. Because I was still thinking, half of me believed there was a compassionate God. But the other half of me was still thinking, I'm screwed. Because I thought I had done some things that were unforgivable. And I wanted to let them go. How do you do that? How do you really go through life by yourself and look at somebody and say, I'm sorry, that's not there? How did I get to a point where I could finally say, God, I'm sorry? And that's what I had to do. I had to start going for walks. You're talking about grounded, that's true. I was just going for walks in God's, what I believe, awesomeness, and saying, when I wanted to sleep with that woman, and I did, and she was married, that wasn't maybe a really good idea. And I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. I had that drug deal that was going bad, and I got shot, and I beat the hell out of that man and took the drugs and took the money and left him with the bloody pulp. Yeah, maybe that wasn't a really good idea. The hard one was, God, I'm sorry. I should have listened to you more when I was growing up, and I chose not to. I should have been willing to maybe let you be the rudder of my life, and I didn't want to. I wanted to be without a rudder. I wanted to have the fun of woohooing across the waves, because that's kind of fun. And the weird thing was, God said, I know it's fun, and I want you to have fun, because it is fun. And I made the waves for that reason. I made the ski hills for that reason. I made some of your friends to be your friends for that reason. And it blew me away. God has a sense of humor. I mean, how do you explain aardvarks? How do you explain giraffes? I mean, how do you explain little kids doing the things that they do on YouTube? Yeah, God does have a sense of humor. And I'm grateful that he does. I finally got what it meant to be the son that asked for his inheritance, got it, spent it, blew it, and came walking back up that hill saying, you know, I'd rather live with you and the pigs and the sheep and the dogs than somewhere else. So I'm coming home. And to have Dad run down the hill to you and throw his arms around you and give you a sloppy kiss, that's kind of awesome. So I really hope that you start to comprehend that life is truly a journey, and it's weird, and it is fun, and it doesn't always make sense. I had the gift. My son Quinn made it through what he had to go through. And I got to learn that that was his journey, not mine. As much as a control freak as I am, I had to be the dad that drove the car to get him to where he needed to be and back from where he was safely. And I did that. And I was with him through every step of that journey. But that was Quinn's journey, not mine. I had to be the guy that got and blessed enough to be married to Tanya. And my wife Tanya gets to walk her journey. Luckily, she's joining me, and I get to join her as we walk together. But it is her journey, not mine. And just like y'all, it's your journey. And what I really encourage you is to take a look. Maybe you're stuck with the small g, and you may need to make a journey towards the capital G in your life, rather than leave hanging out and staying with the small g. I don't know. But if you want to do it, I know there's some people in this room that would be fun to watch you make that journey, and we'd be willing to join you as you decide to take that road. Thanks for listening.